In this video we have an old PA amplifier again, though this is a Valve one. Probably 1960s sort of era. It's an AWA PA-30BZ, 30 watt amplifier. And the cover's already loose on this. And that's actually the bottom cover. One of the cool things is they've actually screen printed the circuit onto it. It's a bit scratched up and stuff now, but I like that. Not many people do that, and it's on the actual outside of the bottom cover, so you just had to flip it upside down. And first thing I noticed is, yes, we are actually missing a valve out of this. They do have this on the Radio Museum, so you can look up info on it. Looks like someone's actually just scanned this. But this has a valve diagram too, so shows that's some optional preamp input, I think. That's a preamp built into it type of thing. I think that's a microphone preamp, so that must be an extra stage for that, which I think is here. Preamplifier, PA739 optional, so it's two halves of I think it's a 12AX7, isn't it? Like a guitar amp or guitar pedal type valve, probably used in guitar amps as a preamp. Then we've got that other valve there, which it says a 7199, but I forget it's got a standard number on it. And then we've got two KT88, or we're meant to have two KT88 outputs. This one's actually got a 6 something or other EH5 or something, which is actually equivalent to a KT66, I think. And I remember back at a place I used to work, there was old valve amps like this, and there was even brand new KT66s, is what I remember it as. They might have been KT88s in packets, and we just chucked them all in the dumpster in the end, which is a bit of a shame because they're not cheap now. But before I even bother to get another output, given that that radiogram ran on one output, and we might see if we can just run this with just one valve in place, see if this thing actually looks like it works. If it turns out it's got a burnt out transformer or something, there wouldn't have been any point worrying about it anyway. But at least it gives the valve layout and stuff there to give you an idea. And that's right, you've got an optional monitor speaker. And this has the monitor speaker, nice old roller there. And I was wiping that off to see, I think they're just patent manufactured by Roller Co. Australia Proprietary Limited, and patent numbers. And it does have a couple of weird blanking things there, I assume for some other sockets or something. But if you look at the Radio Museum, the one they've got, and I think there's another one online, I think it actually showed up in an auction somewhere, and then someone's either bought it or put the pictures on Radio Museum, and they actually had that is a tuning cap and I think a magic eye or something in there. So they had a radio dial that fitted in a optional radio module. And yeah, we've got that massive power transformer. That's your output transformer. I don't think this one, this does have the one, so this tells you a bit more about these output taps for the 100-volt line type setup. Now this one's quite messy because you've got to do a lot of links and stuff. System LF off and on. Is that a low? I don't know what LF is. A couple of fuses. These are those old Valve TV type fuse holders. And that looks rather black in there. I wonder if that's been blown up a few times. Something we might have to check as well. I guess we'll have to use a dim lamp on this thing when we fire it up. Yes, a 30 watt output, and then it's number of speakers. 600 ohm speakers. That must be, maybe that's the standard speaker transformer impedance. And it looks like the output 330 ohms, 100 volts. So as you add more speakers, of course, 2600 gets you down to roughly 330, and you join these various taps together to give you 330 ohms at 100 volts. Then as you add more, 250, 190, etc., and it keeps halving down. So over 24, you're looking at 20 ohms still, and that's why it doesn't overload your amp when you've got lots of parallel speakers. And someone's let a bunch of epoxy resin or something run down in there. Where did that come from? I think someone's dropped something in the top of this maybe. It's certainly in filthy condition. We've got a UCC capacitor made in Australia. Big Duke on. So well and truly made in Australia, so this was definitely 60s sort of era stuff. And what have we got under here? The usual Duke on capacitors and the like. some sort of bird's feather. Oh, we've got two diodes here, early old school 1N series, are they? 1N, I think that's 178 or something. 176 maybe. Nice early, not sure if they're gold plated, they possibly are. Wouldn't be surprised with stuff of that age. They certainly charged enough for semiconductors back then, so it should be gold plated, I guess. Yeah, and that does look like a add-in sort of module with a couple of big sockets on the end. No idea what sort of sockets they are. 3-pin and then threaded, some very obsolete type, I guess. Why have we got like a trimmer capacitor in there? And what on earth is that thing? It's got 2 pins in one end. Is that some sort of little transformer or something? I have no idea what that is. Maybe it shows it on the circuit, I guess. Oh, they're our 2 output valves, so this must be... Well, that's some sort of tuning in the preamplifier or driver or whatever it's considered. Oh, yeah, we had a dial lamp in there for the... Yeah, little light next to the on-off switch, and yeah, some sort of epoxy resin type stuff has leaked down in there by the look of it. As long as the caps haven't leaked, I think we're safe to put voltage on this thing. Just make sure these resistors aren't actually... That one was getting close to shorting on this other terminal. No rubber wiring, so that's something. Again, suggests it's more 60s than 40s or something. Bit of cotton coated wire, but that's got PVC inside it. Bit of an odd combo, but I guess it did the job. And a Ducon capacitor. I wonder if any of these transformers, we've even got a mica capacitor on the pot there. Oh, and I think these pots are dual. They're more like a car radio pot. So you've got mic 1 and mic 2 levels, concentric sort of this setup, and then you've got pickup slash radio. It's a tone and volume. So that's another input. You either have the radio built in, or there is a, yeah, that's right, a little two pin socket on the end there for the pickup, or I guess external radio you could put in it. I guess if you had a radio or other source or didn't want one, you just didn't pay for that part and bought the model without it, or the base model. Though the mains cord, what's left of it, is rubber coated by the look of it. Part of it, I guess we'll check those 2 fuses aren't blown for a start, and maybe if it's just a short across the main capacitors. We do want to short across the fuses, so they're good. No, wrong way around. Let's check these diodes. Well, maybe it wasn't the wrong way around. Actually, with these old diodes, I think the big flat bit is actually the cathode. Yeah, so the opposite way around to what I thought. I thought the flat bit was the anode. Well, it shows how long since I've measured one of those. That cap to ground's okay. Well, that one we just checked with the diode, probably. Is that a dual cap? Possibly. So nothing obvious shorted or anything horrible. What am I going to do with this mains wiring? There's very little out the back, so I think we'll just cut it on the inside of the clamp grommet. And see if I can connect to that safely. The rubber's still very flexible, so I think that rubber's fine for now. Obviously got to go in the long run if this thing's ever used for anything ever again, which is somewhat doubtful, but it's kind of a cool old unit. I get a feeling I may have another, like a Philips or something version of these, but I could be wrong. But I just had a feeling there was meant to be 2 of these, but no idea where the other one went, if there is a second one. But it's probably hiding under something or behind something somewhere if there is. which way I want to face it really. Probably doesn't matter. I don't like being where things can blow up and aim at me. Turn it on. Bulb is dim, but it shouldn't really be on at all. And yeah, not much happening, but wait and see if the valves swarm up. Oh, something's happening. Oh, we've got noise. So that's just coming from that pickup. No. Ooh. There you go. Bit of scratchy sound there. Ooh, transformers humming when I... Ooh, don't like the sound of that much. When I get rid of the bulb. Something started making a bit of a dodgy noise there. That's what it is, I think. Although, is that just getting to normal warmness, or is it... or is it just hum out of the speaker? I think it's just coming out of the speakers, that isn't so bad. But that valve's making some funny noises as it's expanding. Given who knows when the last time it was plugged in, it's probably not surprising. Hopefully we're not red plating or whatever dodgy things these things do. Hard to tell with them because they run hot anyway. Well, I don't think we'll run it for too long. That's just, ooh, something's smoking there. The valve is smoking, I think. Yeah, that's real hot. 6L6GC it is. That bloody thing's still on. I wonder if this leaves the heaters running. Must do, I think. I think that's excessive heat though. I guess we could run it until it goes into meltdown, but then I'll have to buy two of the damn things. So I'm not sure how these run with one not in circuit. That radiogram didn't seem to care, though it was rather distorted, but that sure feels hot as... Well, I guess, I mean, we've got enough to know that the input's going to work on this, I think. I guess we could we quickly just put something in there. There we go. Working. I think that might be enough to say the thing basically works. Putting another valve in, I don't know if that'll fix that one overheating. Not even sure if that one is a proper equivalent. I must look that up actually, so I'll have to do some quick research. See if a 6AL6 or whatever it was is even equivalent to a, or a KT66 is equivalent to a KT88. It might be a completely wrong thing to have in there, or it could be something in the driver or something's wrong. Who knows, could be a shorted cap or something doing something nasty. Don't really know why the other one got removed. Well, just look at that black thing underneath in the circuit, and it comes off, I think that out limiter pot is the one. Does it tell you out limiter? Yeah, that's it. The wiper of that goes into, I think that's a neon. And then that feeds into what looks like a CDS type LDR light dependent resistor that feeds back. So that's some sort of feedback. That must light up relative to the output of this thing going into the transformer, and that then feeds back into the grid of this driver valve. So that could be another thing that's playing up without the second valve in there maybe, or something. But I did find there's a big wire wound resistor 470 ohm under here that's getting quite hot. That drives that one valve. Where's the 470 ohm? You'd think it would be on there. Oh, there it is. Oh, it goes to ground. Here's a 470 from each to ground. So it gets the cathode to ground. VE. Oh, is that just the, that's the colour of the wire, I think. Violet or something going into there. Where do we get our voltage from here? Well, it must go into this, it'll be this centre tap probably. 390 volts for a 10k. Well, that'll be going the other way. Here we go, yeah. So it's one of those diodes. 1N1764 they are actually. Through that fuse, well, we didn't blow the fuse at least. 0.375 amps, that's only fairly low. Yeah, then there was a high voltage to the radio. It goes to the centre tap of the transformer. Part of it to the grids, part of it to the anode, I guess. And then cathode to ground via 470 ohm 5 watt resistors, one of which is running hot and looks like it's been hot before. I reckon that's where that smoke came from, because it's right under the valve. Actually melted to a piece of plastic coated wire there. I don't know if that was like that before or after I ran it, but someone's probably ran it before. Looking at it, I doubt I cooked it that much just running it that short period, but maybe. But yeah, it's an opto coupler, I guess you'd have to call that. I don't know what it says there, LP something. That's the part number. I'll have a look on the Radio Museum, see if their one came out better, or RV204, but it says something down there as well. Or is that, maybe that's the two parts, lamp 01 or something. RV204 is probably the variable resistor or something. Yeah, they're calling it like an RV203 is a pot. So resistor variable or LDR. So yeah, that's not what I expected to see, any sort of opto coupler, early opto coupler type circuitry in this thing, but that's an interesting one. And just had another look at it and just noticed one of the pins has been disconnected, and you can see a bit of solder there. Looks like it's been messed with, and it did go to one side of the pot. So from wiper to one of the sides. And the weird thing is it looks like a bayonet lamp fitting, much like a dial lamp, except most of these are screw in, and I just pushed on this little washer or grommet or whatever, and that's just broken, of course. So I don't know if I can get that out of there. It's sort of coming. Whoops, we just broke the wire off it, I think, which is probably a good thing. And it is just a light bulb. Oh no, but it's a light bulb. You know, it's a neon, alright. It's got two bits of wire just going up. So, geez, I've never seen a neon in one of those. It's an NE51, I think that says. I'll have to look this up as well. Discover all sorts of new stuff that you've never seen. NE51 it looks like, an NE51 neon, early neon, and a bayonet light type fitting. With a solder tab on there and the normal tab in the middle, so someone's probably just added that, but yeah, how weird. And unfortunately I broke that little grommet thing, but that doesn't matter anyway. And can we see, well, I guess now that we've done that, we can see the other half of it. Oh, wow, that's an early cadmium one, if that's what it is. It must be. And it's filthy, which probably doesn't help. At least I think it's filthy. It's all kind of milky looking. Oh, maybe that's the way it is. Maybe it's got some early plastic on it or something that's got all milky. Oh, you can just make it. No, it's more an LDR, I think. Could be cadmium sulfide type. Yeah, it's kind of got milky on the front. It does have some sort of plastic film or something. But you can see the little elements. So yeah, just an actual resistor or cadmium sulfide cell thing. I'd say a very early one at that, and it's like a little Bakelite tube, or it almost looks like copper pipe, but I doubt it's metal. Oh, and again, I don't think that'll be copper pipe though. Well, I'm pretty sure it's some sort of bakelite type of tube. Oh, what a cool old neon. Yeah, I'll see if I can find out any info on it. NE51. Yeah, probably should move those terminals back to where they were. But it doesn't want to rotate, does it? So now it's fully disconnected. But yeah, of course, someone had to be in here and fiddled with it. Possibly reconnecting that stops that thermal runaway or whatever we might be getting there. Okay, I had a bit of a look into this, and these, whatever these valves, I forgot what this one is now, but 6L6GC, which is equivalent to basically to a KT66, don't really seem to be equivalent to the KT88 as far as I can tell. So I'm not sure these are really suitable, and a KT88's are very expensive, so definitely not worth putting a pair of KT88s in here. Most of them are new ones you can buy. And yeah, you can pay all sorts of silly money. What's that, a Tionex or something? Tionex? T1X? I don't know. Don't know what brand valve that is, but yeah, that was getting stinking hot. But for this old amp, I think unless some second-hand ones turn up or something, which is very unlikely if they're valuable, unfortunately this thing's just going to be a display piece at most. I mean, possibly that transformer could be good out of it, but it's only really good for a mono valve amp, so I guess it's still good for a guitar amp, maybe, that thing. What do we get out of it again? I've completely forgotten. We've got the main transformer puts out, well, there, after a 10k we got 390 volts. Does it not have a negative? What? Oh, this is, yeah, that's right, these are tapped off. Yeah, it's off the same rail into there, and more importantly into there. So yeah, somewhere around the 390 odd volt. So that's actually more than the mains going into it by the look of it. I guess we could pull that valve and check, but not much of interest really. But that, like I said, that transformer could be good for a guitar amplifier or something, putting out those sort of voltages, or maybe a replacement in one that runs a couple of KT88 type valve output. I guess the 12AX7s might be worth something, but second hand probably not much. You used to be able to buy them for about $7 from Wagner's or something. I'm not sure if they still sell them, probably not, but they were very cheap to buy not that long ago. I guess it was 20 years ago or something. Doesn't seem long ago, but an interesting old piece. I might just keep it as a display if I ever get around to cleaning up enough room to display some of this stuff. So I can probably screw the covers back on it and just leave it for now, because yeah, even if those valves turn up, they're probably more valuable to put in something else. Though I guess this could be converted to a guitar amp or something, but who really wants this dirty old thing? And you could certainly tap into the, well, possibly tap into the output before that transformer. I don't think this has actually got an 8 ohm output or 4 ohm or anything. Yes, that's a bit of a pain. So we do have an output there. What is that output? Because normally valve amps need an output transformer, I think. So the monitor speaker even comes off that transformer. I guess you could possibly use something where the monitor speaker is. Oh, so the output just goes across the outer windings. So that's 12 and 1. Never know, maybe that is a standard output, but do we have anything across 1? Yeah, maybe. You never know if that's possible to use as on a standard speaker. But anyway, it's old and dirty. I mean, it could obviously have been cleaned up, but not exactly what anyone wants to use, I don't think. But interesting old piece anyway. So we'll just put that one on the display only pile, I think, for the time being. And very unlikely this is ever going to go again. I might clean up the front a bit. Probably wouldn't make too bad a display piece. And yeah, I guess at least I know I've got one of those valves, or hopefully I remember I do. A slightly cooked one now. So that might come in handy for something else. But that's all I can really do with this thing, so thanks for watching.